Hi guys, welcome back. Another little purchase from eBay. Something a little bit different, not my usual vintage old Swiss watches or whatever. Here we have a Rip Curl diving surfing watch from around 1998, something like that, maybe a little bit earlier. It's the Rip Curl Heritage line. I paid £8.50, I think, for this. These were generally, I think, over £200 new. And even now, you're seeing them around £100 mark. You might get them cheaper, you might pay a little bit more. This is particularly a nice one. And the reason I got it is because years ago, I used to be heavily into windsurfing. And one of the first proper watches I bought myself back in the 1990s was an Animal. It's a watch brand and also a fashion designer called Animal. You may have heard of them. They do a lot of surfing type clothing, this type of thing, but also they did watches. They came out with a fantastic line of watches, and I bought one basically so I could go windsurfing. And I found it in my windsurfing shop, and it looked amazing. Lovely green dial, rotating bezel, and I used it for many years until it just packed up one day. And that was it. I actually put it back onto eBay and got a fair bit of money back for it, even broken, because they're quite desirable watches of the time. Now, when I saw this, it reminded me of that Animal watch. And I'd seen the Rip Curl watches before. They'd always been pretty expensive, and you could usually find them in the surf shops. And a lot of the surfing stuff is pretty expensive. You've probably heard of makes like Mambo, Quicksilver, Hot Tuna. All these surf makes, they make some great clothing, usually very good quality, but a little bit on the dear side. And the watches aren't any different. So these were retailing £200 plus for this watch. So to pick this up for £8.50, I've done very well. It's working. I think it's made in Hong Kong. It's not a Swiss watch or anything like that. But you have got a screw down back, quartz movement. You've got 50 meters water resistant, which is about 160 feet. You've got the date there and a rotating bezel, which actually works. So you could, I guess, take it diving. I don't think you're going to go too deep with it, but you could do some basic diving. But mainly this would be for people who surf, windsurf, surfing, kite surfing, that type of thing. And I thought for that price is a nice watch to add to my collection, so I will keep this. I showed this to a friend yesterday and he wasn't convinced the strap is original. So I think it might have come with a kind of resin strap. I think it may come with more surfy type resin strap, and someone's put, or perhaps put, this leather strap on. Because the thing is, if you are surfing with these, they do take quite a bit of abuse, and you're strapping them over wetsuits and things like that. I know my Animal watch, that came with a Velcro strap, and that was great, but it used to get absolutely mullered. You know, bits of seaweed would be stuck on it. The salt water, you know, destroys them after a while, and plus the sun, the UV, because you're out in the sun and salt water. And yeah, that's pretty hard on a watch. So these watches are pretty good quality. If you do find one, you know, they're not rubbish. They've got a nice bit of weight to them. And for the money, they're not too bad, especially on a used market. So I don't know how many clicks that is. I think that's more for show than anything. I can't imagine too many people will go diving with this watch. But it's a nice thing that it works. And for some reason, it's got markings on the edge saying heat minutes. So I'm not sure what that means, heat minutes. No idea. I don't know if that's for style or that there is an actual purpose to that. But that with the black dial and the gold indices is basically a stainless steel watch, and you've got the gold bezel or gold plated bezel. So I may well look for a strap which is more original for it, but I'm definitely going to keep hold of this one, and I'm going to keep a lookout for an Animal watch that I had before as well. Very rare. I did see one on Google but I've not found one on eBay. The one I want is very, very rare, the one that I had, and to find one working. But if I do locate one, I will purchase that for old time's sake to put in my collection. So there you go. Not all watches have to be high-end Swiss watches. If you find a watch that's got a little bit of maybe sentimental values, it's something to do with the sport that you're involved with, why not buy it? And quite often you can buy them a lot cheaper than they were, obviously, from new. When you're buying them used, you can get a massive discount on some of these watches which you may have lusted after years ago, and now they're coming up on eBay. So that is a great watch for very, very little money indeed. I didn't even have to put a battery in it. I'll show you what it looks like on my wrist. I've been waffling on far too long. So that's it on my 6.5-inch wrist. It's not a huge watch, but it's not small. I think that's about 38mm across, approximately. I haven't measured it, but going by eye, that's about 38, and you've got a 20mm lug. It's extremely comfortable with the leather strap, I'll give you that, but I don't think that would last too long in salt water. Salt water usually kills leather pretty quickly. And it's keeping excellent time, obviously being a quartz. I've not had the back off, so I imagine it's got a seal, but when this first came, the strap was pretty dirty and there was quite a bit of grime around. So I used a toothbrush and I ended up washing it off under the tap, and it didn't get any water inside. So I'm hopeful that the seal is all intact, but sometimes when you unscrew the backs, that can destroy the seal that's there, and you've got to get another one. So I thought, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's all working, so I didn't want to get the back off and destroy the seal. So there you go. Just thought I'd show you that, guys. It's nice to keep an eye out for some of these more unusual watches that aren't junk. It's not a junk watch. It's a decent quality watch, very usable, still looks good today. And if you are going surfing or swimming, absolutely ideal for very little money. Okay guys, happy hunting, take care.